The Spurs have a tremendous record of transforming their franchise through the NBA draft. Their legendary season tanking has brought them NBA legends like David Robinson and Tim Duncan, and now they have the opportunity to add legendary French prospect, the 7'4" monster Victor Wembanyama.
American fans and NBA fans across the world are still learning about you. What is the NBA? What are the San Antonio Spurs getting with Victor Wembanyama?
A team player. I'm gonna make everything to win as many games as I can, and I'm trying to win a ring ASAP. So be ready.
So the San Antonio Spurs were tied up in knots. I talked to their general manager Brian Wright today. He's been not able to sleep for a week. Now that you know where you're going, what do you think you can take the Spurs? Where do you think you can take the Spurs next season?
Um, you know, uh, I'm gonna try and bring my talents here. I love Texas. I've been there before. I'm really happy, and I really can't wait to meet the fans and to meet hopefully the team I'm about to join in June.
Victor Wembanyama has been voted MVP of his French league and hailed as one of the most exciting draft prospects since LeBron James. Standing at 7'4" with incredible skills and versatility, Wembanyama has the potential to become a game changer for the San Antonio Spurs. Even financially, the Spurs sold thousands of season ticket orders right after confirming having the number one pick. This is going to be the birth of a new era. This is Tim Duncan with the Steph Curry guard skill set. Now the question becomes, how do you build a team around Wembanyama? The Spurs have a couple interesting projects right now, like Keldon Johnson and Jeremy Sochan. The first option for the Spurs will be to keep this trio of Sochan, Johnson, and Wembanyama together, at least for the first 3 or 4 seasons. We can always see if Wembanyama is good enough to carry a team, just like young LeBron was his first stint in Cleveland. Because worst comes to worst, and it is a losing season, it will just give the Spurs a better advantage against top picks in the next upcoming drafts. And these upcoming draft picks will be the same age as Wemby, and that way you can build a team that's on the same age and on the same timeline. And I would start off Wemby's career as only playing him at the four. He's not quite big enough to play the five, and you wouldn't want to risk injuring him very early in his career, making him bang with big guys down low. I think the best bet is to have Zach Collins play the five alongside with Wemby at the four. Zach Collins is actually a very underrated rim defender. He ranked 11th in opponent field goal rating when attacking the rim. He's also a much bigger body that you're willing to sacrifice instead of Wembanyama, and he's actually shooting the three at about 40% this season. It's going to be very interesting to see teams try to defend Wemby and Zach Collins when they're both going to opposite corners on the court and opening up the lanes for their guards to drive. This is also going to open up more shot opportunities for Jeremy Sohan, who's not exactly a great three-point shooter so far into his career. Trey Jones will also benefit from this added space. However, he only shot 28% from three last season, so he will need to become a much deadlier threat from three to make this offense make sense. However, their backup point guard, Devontae Graham, is a veteran and knockdown three-point shooter in this league. I expect him to get much more run alongside Victor Wembanyama, which brings us to option two. Free up cap space for a free agent this offseason. Partnering Victor Wembanyama with a great guard or a great center off rip is going to increase his rate of development and also the potential of an NBA championship in the near future for the San Antonio Spurs. Currently on the books as far as movable contracts go, there's Devontae Graham who's going to be making 12 million this year and also another 12,500,000 next year. I see this as a very easily moved contract, not only for the great years term, so the team could trade just to free up that cap space in the next 2 years, but they'll also get a great off the bench point guard to help with their own offense. The next person I'll be looking to trade is Trey Jones. He had a great 2023 season, averaging 13 with 7 assists and also while playing lockdown defense. And you may be wondering, why would we trade a player who has so much potential and so much upside? That's because currently we're only paying Trey Jones about 1,700,000. We own his bird rights, but I'm sure in the offseason he's going to be offered big contracts upwards of 8 million, 10 million, maybe even 13 million dollars. If the Spurs decide to decline his option, that can free up the cap space up to 43 or even 46 million dollars. And right now there are two guards looking for max contract options, and that's going to be Fred VanVleet and Kyrie Irving. Yeah, you hear all the noise with Kyrie saying he doesn't love basketball and all the drama surrounding his name, but at the end of the day, he is still a top 5 point guard in this league. The pick and roll action with Kyrie and Victor Wembanyama will be reminiscent of Kyrie's seasons with LeBron on the Cleveland Cavaliers. Because as a defending team, what do you do? When Kyrie's bringing the ball up the court and Victor sets a pick, you can't double Kyrie and leave Victor open. And you also can't double Victor and leave Kyrie open. And this also is going to open up the game so much just because of Victor's fade game. He can always do a pick and pop, a pick and roll, or a pick and fade. He's a threat at all three layers. Personally, I think the biggest thing that Kyrie will bring to the Spurs is his ability to teach and mentor Victor, specifically the ball handling. Imagine what Victor already has now combined with the knowledge Kyrie can give him about dribbling. Growing up, Victor said his favorite player was Kobe Bryant, and we see shades of Kobe Bryant in his game with his post turnaround fadeaways and his dedication in practice. I think the most underrated thing about Victor as a prospect is his dedication to the game and his eager and willingness to learn. The next option is to sign B tier guards, like maybe D'Angelo Russell if the Lakers decide not to renew his contract, and Fred Van Vliet. Going with a budget point guard like Fred Van Vliet is going to open up more cap space for the Spurs. And the first person I'm looking to sign with that cap space is Seth Curry. He is a career 43% three-point shooter. And combining that with Fred Van Vliet, who averaged around 20 points last season, along with 7 assists while shooting 35% from 3. The best thing the Spurs can do is surround Victor with knockdown three-point shooters and a point guard who can control the offense. With big wings who can shoot like Devin Vassell and Seth Curry who can take catch and shoot threes at a high rate, it's going to stop Victor from being doubled down low and give him more space to operate and work on his game while he's growing in his rookie years. The opposition is going to be forced to close out on Seth Curry, Fred Van Vliet, and Devin Vassell. A team built like this will instantly make the Spurs title contenders in the upcoming season. We watched LeBron bring a god awful Cavs team to the NBA Finals in 2007. Everyone's saying Wemby is supposed to be the greatest prospect that we've seen since LeBron James. So I think the expectation should be a deep playoff run if the Spurs build an adequate team around him, even if it's only his first year in the league. The only thing holding Victor back currently is potential injuries. Historically, we've seen high drafted big men crumble in upcoming years, like Yao Ming, Greg Oden, and even last year's number 2 pick, Chet Holmgren. Chet has a similar build to Victor, and we saw Chet get a right foot injury that kept him out for a whole season. And he picked that up just playing pickup basketball with some NBA players in an open gym run. And with a tall, thin frame, you gotta wonder what are the chances of injuries when he goes up against guys like Joel Embiid and Giannis. Could you imagine Victor having to take a charge from LeBron James coming head on? Teams are definitely going to exploit Victor's size unless he puts on some weight this offseason. But we've seen players come back from injuries in their rookie years, specifically big men, and have fantastic careers. The first one that comes to mind, of course, is Joel Embiid. He missed his first 2 seasons with foot injuries. Now he's won back-to-back scoring titles and this year won MVP for the league. It's going to come down to a lot of luck and patience for the Spurs. Personally, I wouldn't be surprised if Victor ended up missing his first season or his first 2 seasons even. The only player I can think who had a similar build and managed to avoid injuries early in their career is Kevin Durant. But Kevin also played much further away from the basket. I expect to see Victor much more down low and in the paint. Especially with Greg Popovich as his coach, I just don't see a lot of opportunities for Victor to be shooting threes or a lot of mid-range jumpers. Pop is going to want him down low with his back to the basket. That way he can receive the ball on the post for easy buckets or also kick it out to the perimeter. Victor is going to be the best prospect since LeBron James, and I expect teams to guard him like that. He will be continuously doubled, and he's going to need to grow as a post passer. We've seen flashes of his playmaking, but we're really going to need to expand on that when he enters the Spurs. Because what good is signing knockdown shooters like Seth Curry if we can't get the ball to him out of a double team? But I believe Victor will exceed all expectations, and he will be on the Mount Rushmore with LeBron, with Kobe, with Shaq, with Kareem. We've just never seen a prospect with the whole package at 7'4". The only thing that can stop Victor is injuries. There is no one in this league who will be able to guard Victor one on one. Some people say Pop has found his next Tim Duncan. Tim won 5 rings for the Spurs franchise, and I think that'll be very hard to match. But if there's anyone who can do it, it will be Victor. Because essentially, Victor is Tim Duncan, just with a much better three-point shot and ball handling ability. So you tell me, who do you think the Spurs should go after this offseason? Should they even make any changes to the roster? Do you even think that Victor is going to pan out to be what everybody thinks that he will be?